Hello everyone, in today's episode of Researching Stocks, I'm going to be looking at Palantir Technologies and their Q2 2021 earnings. Are you ready? Let's begin. So diving in right away into the Palantir financial report, Palantir reports a 49% revenue growth year over year, and the commercial revenue is up 90%. Now, if you don't know what Palantir does, in a nutshell, Palantir is the data company of the future. They allow enterprise companies and governments to use their data in a way that helps them either cut costs significantly or capitalize on opportunities. So, like I said, 49% year over year growth from quarter to quarter, $376 million. And the US commercial revenue grew 90%. And why is this important? Because Palantir was known for years for being the company that only works with governments, and now they have a year over year, almost a double in the revenue with commercial companies. So these are big steps that Palantir is taking, being more of a commercial facing business. Now, looking at the deals closed, 62 deals of $1 million or more. So Palantir has a big ticket solution. It's a costly solution. Not every organization can implement it. So we're talking about 62 deals of $1 million or more. 30 of those deals were $5 million or more, and 21 of those deals were $10 million or more, meaning that only 9 were between 1 and 5. So 20 net new customers added in the second quarter of 2021. So the company is also adding more customers. It's not just from existing customers. And when they say net new customers, meaning that I guess that includes probably some churn. I'm not so sure. And the commercial customer count increased by 32%. So meaning that the amount of customers that are on the commercial side has gone up over 30%. Cash flow from operations, $23 million, representing a 6% margin. Adjusted free cash flow of $50 million, representing a 13% margin. So jumping in here to the highlights after the adjusted earnings per share, which diluted is 4 cents. Like we said, the total revenue grew 49% year over year for the first half of the year 2021 versus the first half of the year 2020. And the commercial customer count increased 61% since the end of the year 2020. Cash flow from operations of $140 million, representing a 19% margin. So adjusted free cash flow is $201 million, representing a 28% margin. Now, after reading all those bullets, what does this kind of mean for Palantir going forward? So there was a lot of talk about, can Palantir continue to onboard commercial customers? There was like a question mark around that question. And this question, I guess, has been answered in the second quarter of 2021. The company can continue to grow their commercial portfolio, and I don't think there's an end in sight. This company does not have a lot of clients in compared to other companies that might be in businesses that are parallel. So if you're talking like a Microsoft and Amazon and IBM, I'm pretty sure that all these companies, if they have enterprise clients, they have a much bigger portfolio. And Palantir is working with companies such as IBM and Amazon. So I think it's just a matter of time until Palantir really expands aggressively that portfolio and generates $1 billion every quarter. If I had to bet when that's going to happen, anywhere between the years 2027 to 2032, you're going to see Palantir hitting $1 billion quarters. And in terms of outlook for the third quarter, they're looking at $385 million in revenue with an adjusted operating margin of 22%. So in terms of guidance, the guidance looks good. And for the full year, they're raising the outlook for the adjusted free cash flow. And per long-term guidance, as provided by the Chief Executive Officer, Alex Karp, the company continues to expect an annual revenue growth of 30% of greater for 2021 through 2025. Companies who can do this in the past few years were Facebook, Amazon, Google, Apple, some quarters, but those are the companies who usually could show those annual growth numbers. Now, looking at some of the statements, let's see. What can we see here? Okay, financial statements. You can see the revenue. You can see the cost of revenue here to generate that revenue. So gross profits are high. And operating expenses, you can see that in 2021, Palantir is expanding their sales and marketing. So you know that Palantir is really aiming at the commercial side when they're expanding sales and marketing, and they expanded that more than they expanded R&D, meaning that their R&D is probably a way ahead of what is out there, meaning that they don't have to close any gaps. They're way ahead of the competition. And now all they have to do is turn that knob of sales and marketing and bring in a deal flow. And that's what I at least interpret from this statement. And in terms of kind of looking deep into what the company can do later on with this free cash flow, I think the company can do more acquisitions, more M&A, add more companies to kind of create this hub around them. So Palantir has been indulging in a lot of acquisitions lately and investing in companies that they think that can complement their ecosystem that they're building, companies that can use the data that they have. And even though there's a lot of speculation for why exactly and what exactly is the reason for buying each company, I think that Palantir knows what they're doing. They've been around for many years. This is not a startup that, started 4 or 5 years ago. And just going over the numbers, it seems like this company is still a far way from being one of those companies that you can say that there is a very clear path for how they're going to get to $1 trillion company. I think it's very far from that. This is no Nvidia. This is no Facebook. So I think that there's a long way to go, but in the same time, there's a lot of smart moves this company is doing. Now, just kind of gonna go back to the investor area, and I'm gonna go to the presentation. So we went over the numbers, and let's see the Q2 presentation that they made for us. Really quickly go over the slides. So like we said, the revenue growth, the US commercial revenue growth accelerated. Q2 total contract value booked grew 175%. So the values of the contracts keep growing. Let's see, added 20 net new customers. We talked about that. Average revenue from the top 20 customers grew to 39 million in Q2 from 36 million in Q1, meaning that that's like around an 8% increase, give or take, maybe 7. During Q2 2021, we closed 62 deals. We talked about that. The adjusted free cash flow for the first year. Apollo for Edge AI is enabling government and commercial customers to operationalize AI at scale and deploy to the edge with ease. So talking about kind of the government business they have, a lot of investors don't like this part of Palantir's business. And I don't know why, because governments usually, when they engage with you for years and steady business. So I'm not really aware why many investors are shying away. Some of the best things started with government and later in the commercial side developed into interesting things. We're commercializing Apollo to allow our customers to meet their customers where they are and take their SaaS where it's never gone before. So just looking into what you're seeing here, see the public cloud providers, private cloud, hybrid cloud, or classified environments. You can bring your own compute, your own storage, and connect Palantir to these ecosystems and make more of what you already had. In 2 days, one of the largest banks in Europe with more than 10,000 branches deployed an anti-money laundering and compliance process in Foundry. So that means that Palantir has started to decrease also the time it takes to implement their solution. So in 2 days to implement such a complex solution in 10,000 branches, that is very impressive on Palantir's, and just means that they can work in economies of scale. And when you're working in economies of scale, usually good things can happen on the marketing side and sales side because you have more opportunities for more low-touch interactions, and you can develop a sales funnel which really fast reaches a deal implementation, and you have a client to already throw to customer success. Our no-code and sensor data capabilities are transforming increasingly complex operational challenges across mining, energy, and others. So there was a while back where I saw an article about hundreds of billions of dollars that Palantir is saving for energy companies. And when you talk about a company that saves so much money over a lifetime of years for energy companies, and you spread that out going into the future when we're going to have energy crises and we're going to have all kinds of developments in renewable energy. I'm just thinking about how much revenue is going to be dropping into the company's balance sheet just from saving many companies money. Foundry's operating system of choice for utilities, including PG&E. Okay, so basically creating a connected utility system. Day zero companies are leapfrogging legacy IT investments and building on Foundry as the modern operating system. It just seems like Palantir is really firing on all cylinders. Foundry for builders is enabling startups to integrate data-driven decision-making from the outset and efficiently managing increasing complexity as their businesses scale. Making robots used for industrial inspections, helping customers understand and select Medicare plans. In Q2 2021, we made 60 additional sales hires. Okay, so that's the cost we saw on the balance. And our pipeline is accelerating with active commercial pilots up 26% since the end of April. Let's see, in Q2 2021, we signed new deals with the US Army, Air Force, and Coast Guard, including a 2-year $100 million with SOCOM. Participated in the US Northern Command toward Global Information Dominance experiment, driving applied AI decision-making for real-world scenarios. Okay. Oh, this is interesting, just with everything that's going on with variants. We signed new deals with HHS and the CDC, including doubling our contract for Tiberius to help US manage vaccine production, distribution, and administration. So just more deals. They continue to develop their channel partnership strategy. They signed new partnerships with Data Robot focused on helping customers demand forecasting. Let's see what else. Okay. So we've gone over these numbers. I'm sliding through all this. I think this is interesting. They're working on improving those margins, and we talked about the commercial. The government revenue kept on growing, which is impressive. They managed to grow the commercial a lot, but they also managed to grow the government a lot. I'll talk about doing two things well in the same time. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. In Q2 2021, we generated 117 million. Operating income representing an adjusted operating margin of 31%, ahead of prior guidance of 23%. So they're just stating how they beat it guidance. Looking ahead, we talked about their outlook and their revenue growth of 30% for this year and the next 4 years. Very, very confident from them. And yeah, the appendix, we saw the numbers already before. So I'm going to stop here on this kind of page on the slide and just going to say what I personally think about Palantir. And this is a good time to say to you guys that I'm long the company. And there are videos on the channel that I say that I'm long, and I'm still very long. I own well above 1,500 shares of Palantir right now. And I think the company is going to be one day a $1 trillion company. I don't know if it's going to happen in the next 10 or 15 or 20 years, but that's kind of what I feel. Now, this is not financial advice, and I think I talked enough about the results, and the results spoke for themselves about how this is a company that is a real company. Is it a company that their stock will go higher or low? I have no idea. I am not a financial advisor, but it's up to you to do the homework and decide if Palantir is the kind of stock that you want to invest in. And that's why researching stocks is fun, because you can join me and become bullish on a stock, or you can have a whole different opinion, be very bearish, because you're like, well, why is this company trading at such a high market cap? And in the same time, there are so many people who are also shorting it, and there's short interest from time to time. And why is ARK Invest investing in it? And there's all kinds of questions that we can start juggling around a name like Palantir. And the one thing that I would like you to leave this video with is to remember that Palantir is a very different company from companies that exist. So I think we have to kind of judge it in its own set of rules, because there are not many companies that have done what they have done before. They're a very special breed, and there might be competitors that will join them in that kind of segment that they developed for themselves. But for now, I think that they're kind of in the segment of their own. If you found this video useful and you want to see more videos like this is the time to hit that like button. And if you are new to this channel and you've never seen any of my videos before, it's time to subscribe and to hit that bell for notifications so you can get notified when a new video comes out. I appreciate that you join me for another episode of Researching Stocks, and I hope to see you next time.